Hey, what's up YouTube? Victor with PhoneArena here with a comparison of two very nice looking devices. The new Samsung Galaxy Note 4 against the HTC One M8, one of the standards for design in the Android world. So how do these two compare? Now first we have a latest Snapdragon 805 chip here, while this device has an earlier processor, and we have a 16 megapixel camera on the back of the Note 4, while the HTC One M8 only has a 4 megapixel ultra pixel, if you wish, camera. And we will take a look at their interfaces, performance and camera images right away, so stay with us. The Note 4 marks a departure from plastic and opens the era of metal smartphones for Samsung. This applies to the frame though. The Note 4 still features a plastic back, but it is styled under faux leather with a nice texture and feel. The HTC One M8 in comparison features an all-metal unibody construction, a single seamless piece of aluminum that exudes confidence and a feeling of stability. Speaking of pure aesthetic appearance, as subjective as it is, the Note 4 feels like a step forward, but still not really on par with the meticulous finish on the M8. It's also worth mentioning that the Note 4 is noticeably larger than the M8, which makes it harder to operate with one hand. The buttons on the Note 4 are in the traditional for Samsung position and layout. The keys are a bit too recessed but very clicky and fairly comfortable to press on the Note 4. The One M8 in comparison relies on on-screen buttons for navigation only, and the biggest flaw in the M8 design remains the weird positioning of the power lock key. It's at the top of the phone, making it very hard to reach. Apart from that, it's clicky and easy to press, it's just the position that feels wrong. Neither device is water or dust proof, so you need to take extra care to not get them wet. The Galaxy Note 4 comes with a 5.7-inch Super AMOLED display with a Quad HD resolution, while the One M8 sports a smaller 5-inch screen of the IPS LCD kind, but a lower 1080p Full HD resolution. Both are very sharp, but the Note 4 has the upper hand with a pixel density of the amazing 515 ppi. In real life use, the difference between the two is not all that noticeable. You have to hold your phone very close to your eyes to see any pixelization. And turning to color accuracy, and we're impressed with what Samsung has done with the AMOLED screen of the Note 4. In the basic mode, grayscale balance is spot on all across, and the white point is almost exactly the reference 6500K value, and colors are very accurate. As usual with AMOLED screens, Samsung also includes other screen modes where you have richer oversaturated colors that are definitely not accurate but are pleasant for many people. The screen on the HTC on the other hand looks a bit on the cold side, and then HTC puts its own fair share of artificial saturation boost, so the end result is a display with colors with an artificial pop but not a very realistic look. Both the Note 4 and the One M8 come with the latest version of Android 4.4 KitKat on board, but the looks of the platform differ due to vastly different custom skins on top of it. TouchWiz on the Note 4 is modernized but still retains a lot of its familiar colorfulness and some of its cartoonish style. Samsung has brightened it up a bit with the new white backgrounds and cleansed it out of clutter. The new set of fresh Quad HD wallpapers also looks great on the Note 4. While we did notice less of that typical TouchWiz lag, it was still there, and the difference could be felt when comparing with the snappy HTC Sense skin on the M8. HTC's user interface on its part feels lean and clean. Animations are fast and to the point, icons have a mature modern look, and things are well optimized for touch throughout, while on TouchWiz even core apps like the phone book annoyingly do not support swiping to change between tabs. Apart from that, basic functionality is as rich of an experience as you'd expect from these top-shelf devices. Typing on the built-in keyboard of the Note 4 is fairly fast, as you have the convenience of a separate fifth row for the numbers, but the One M8, despite its smaller display, has one of our favorite keyboards with large keys, and typing on it is even faster for us. The Note 4 does have several functions that the M8 lacks. First, it's the health tracking via the new S Health app, then there is the fingerprint sensor that is nowhere to be found on the M8, and finally the S Pen signature feature of the Note series is improved on the Note 4. Despite its improved accuracy, handwriting on the S Pen is still accompanied with a slight but annoying lag, but for more precise selection and image editing, the stylus is a welcome addition. The Note 4 takes full advantage of being the newer phone, featuring the latest Qualcomm system on a chip, the Snapdragon 805. The M8 in comparison runs on the earlier Snapdragon 801. Daily usage, the difference in speed is perceptible, but interestingly it's in HTC One M8's favor. The M8 runs faster, and we attribute this to two things: the optimizations in the Sense UI and the lower resolution. The Note 4 is not a slouch by any means, but there is this slight but noticeable stutter every here and there. The difference in CPU performance between the two is not huge, but the new Adreno 420 graphics in the Note 4 is, and that's what allows the otherwise more resource-hungry Quad HD powered Note 4 to run practically on par with the M8. When it comes to gaming, of course, we should also point out that while most Western markets will get a Snapdragon 805 version of the Note 4, other markets, mostly in Asia, will get a different version of the handset, powered by Samsung's own Exynos 5433 chip. The Galaxy Note 4 and One M8 also both feature 32GB of internal storage, more than most other smartphones that are offered with only 16GB of storage. You can also expand on that initial storage allowance via microSD cards of up to 128GB on both. You have a choice of two pre-installed browsers to surf the web on both the Galaxy Note 4 and the HTC One M8, a custom solution and Google's mobile Chrome. Both load pages quickly, the HTC is a bit faster, and scrolling as well as zooming in and out is snappy. In terms of connectivity, you have LTE on both, and other connectivity options include Bluetooth 4.1 on the Note 4 versus 4.0 on the M8, dual-channel Wi-Fi, GPS and NFC on both. Both devices also have infrared beamers with an accompanying app so that you can use your phone as a remote for, say, your TV. The Galaxy Note 4 features a 16-megapixel main camera that supports optical image stabilization, while HTC perseveres with its 4-megapixel ultra-pixel camera with a secondary rear dual camera that is used primarily for adding a kind of a bokeh effect to images. Turning to the camera app, both HTC and Samsung have simple and user-friendly controls on the surface, with a separate image still and video recording buttons. Under that surface cover though, you have access to a lot of manual settings on both, great for those who want such level of control. HTC's implementation of manual mode, however, is the one that really stands out with its easily adjustable sliders all conveniently placed on one screen. You can control ISO, white balance, focus, you even have manual focus, and so on. When it comes to image quality, the Note 4 captures an impressive amount of detail, with pleasing colors and a fairly dynamic look to its shots. The One M8 on the other hand has images that are much less detailed, but the even bigger issue is that they lack in dynamics and white balance is often way off. Turning over to low light photography, the Note 4 does well with images turning out with very little noise, and the optical image stabilization on board can be felt, and color rendering is also pleasing. The M8 indoor shots turn out with slightly overblown and often unnatural colors on the other hand. Now, the Note 4 has a 3.7 megapixel front camera and it can capture some decent selfies. While on the One M8 we have a 5 megapixel camera for selfies, and those look very detailed. When speaking of video, the Note 4 is capable of recording 4K or 1080p, while the One M8 is only capable of recording 1080p at 30 frames per second. 4K is a nice extra that looks great, but if we compare apples to apples or 1080p recording at 30 FPS, we can see that the Note 4 again has the upper hand with nice and vivid footage, with the added bonus of optical stabilization. Both handsets are capable of handling various movie formats and encodings with ease, and the video app on the Note 4 displays your collection of videos with a nice live animation showing you a quick glance of its contents. The M8 on the other hand has a very capable gallery that creates an automatic video reel of all your photos and videos for the day, which is a nice touch. The One M8, however, does have a hidden ace up its sleeve, and that is its superb sound output via two spacious front-firing speakers that provide a depth and richness of sound that is unmatched in the smartphone market. This is important for all sorts of media, videos, games and music of course. Samsung's speaker in comparison sounds disappointingly average and lacks that depth. Call quality is very good on both the Note 4 and the M8. The earpiece on the Note 4 produces clean sounds with no audible distortions, but the volume could have been a bit louder, while the M8 offers very good clarity and volume. We have no complaints about sound on the other end of the line, as both sound clear and loud. The Note 4 has a spacious 3220 mAh juice pack, and good news is that the Note 4 ends up being one of the top battery performers on our own battery test, scoring an impressive 8 hours and 43 minutes on it. Translating this into real life use, one could expect around 2 days off the charger under average loads, which is pretty good. The One M8 on the other hand comes with a 2600 mAh battery, and while it does score fairly well at 7 hours and 12 minutes, it still lasts significantly less than Samsung's Note 4. And in conclusion, we ought to say that both of these devices have their strengths. The Note 4 in particular stands out with its amazing performance. It's one of the best performing devices in the Android world with the Snapdragon 805 chip, which is faster than the one on the One M8. It also has this Quad HD super sharp display and images from its 16 megapixel camera, one of the best you find on any Android device. The One M8 on the other hand has that excellent premium design with a stylish brush metal finish, which just looks very stylish, very good. But when it comes to camera, it underperforms a little bit. It's just not on par with the current crop of Android flagship devices. But in terms of actual performance, the skin, the HTC Sense, is very snappy and performs on par, if not even better than the Note 4 in some circumstances. For more detailed review, make sure to go to PhoneArena.com. Thanks for watching this. Bye.